thank you for taking the time today to come and listen to me talk about something that I'm really, really passionate about, and it's the light bulb moments. And those are the moments where children learn something for the first time, or something clicks in their mind for the first time, or they understand or master something for the first time. And for me, working with young children is a complete privilege. They are incredible, and those light bulb moments are part of that privilege. In those first, I would say, 6 years of life, children are like little sponges, and they learn constantly. So we have the frequency of light bulb moments is very high, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about my job. And so, yes, I'm Emma Coleman. I am the head of Saikung campus at North Anglia International School. I'm also the EYFS Teaching Fellow for our global community of schools, so the 66 schools around the world, which is great because I get to collaborate with all the other people who are passionate about early years education. And I chose this photo because this little girl was having a light bulb moment, and you can see it in her eyes, can't you? And you can see it in her smile. And so this, I don't know if you've seen this wonderful piece of kit. It's called Numicon. If you're a parent and you don't have Numicon, you should get Numicon. It's brilliant. And this little girl had spent ages and ages trying to get the pieces to fit without any going off the board. And as a 3-year-old, that is very hard. There's a lot of skill involved in trying to do that. And at the moment here, she just got all the pieces to fit, and she had that light bulb moment. And it really was special, and we managed to capture that, share that with her parents. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. If I can work the clicker, let's have a look. Oh, there we go. So this is our beautiful campus. You just mentioned about the outside space. So we have a lovely big outside area for the children to play in, as well as a beautiful campus inside as well. So as I say, I'm Emma Coleman. I've been at North Anglia for 3 years now. This is my 3rd year. I have loved every single moment. It has genuinely been such an amazing adventure to open 2 new preschools over the last few years. So when I first joined North Anglia, it was as head of early years. And now I'm head of wonderful Saikung campus. So I know as a parent, I'm very nosy. I like to see schools, lots of different schools. So I thought I'll just show you a few photos of our school, just in case you want to have a nose virtually around our school. So this is our beautiful upper kindergarten class, as you can see. Welcome, hi, nice to see you, thank you. As you can see, it's very light, very open, loads of wonderful resources for our wonderful children to access, and they also have all of that access to the outside area as well. This is our lower kindergarten classrooms, and we're really lucky. Our whole school has these amazing bifolding doors that you can fold out so that the whole space can become a big space when you need it to be, but also lots of little spaces as well if you want it to be too. So it's very, very flexible space so that we can do what's right for the children and really follow their interests. Here's our shared Big Busy space. So Big Busy is what we call the continuous provision time that children have, the time when they can lead their own learning, when they're doing something called child-initiated learning. And we like to call that Big Busy. And the children always come into school in the morning saying, Mrs. Coleman, when is Big Busy time? Because they love the Big Busy learning, when they can choose their own learning and they can lead their own learning as well, with all the wonderful resources and the amazing teachers that we have in our school. This is our lovely nursery suite. So in nursery we have the 2 classes, and they have this huge big classroom that has huge glass windows that look out onto the boats in Saikung, and we also have a big outdoor space as well, and a lovely covered space too, so that even when it rains and pours in that wonderful season in Hong Kong, we can always stay dry, which is great. So nothing's ever cancelled, which is wonderful. And I think for me, one of the things that shocked me a little bit about when I moved to Hong Kong was the lack of space for my daughter to run. And she likes running and she needs to run. She's very energetic. And so for me, this school is brilliant because she can just run at playtime and let off all of that energy. This is the outdoor space for all the children with real grass, which is another novelty when I moved to Hong Kong. Okay, so what are light bulb moments? For me, they are the best part of my job, by far. That moment when something clicks in a child's mind is just magical, it's really special. And as I said, in the early years, it does happen a lot, but every single one is wonderful. It's the wow moments. And we capture all those wow moments on our online learning journal called Tapestry. So all those wow moments get sent to parents so that they can celebrate those wow moments at home as well. And parents can then also send their wow moments from home into us as well. And that's what's really special about having an online learning journal. So it's when the pieces come together, and it is literally a light bulb coming on in their mind. So as I'm talking you through the light bulb moments and how to ensure that they do happen, hopefully you'll be able to apply some of the things that I talked to you about at home as well to help with your child having light bulb moments at home too. So I thought I'd interview some of our lovely teachers about their favourite light bulb moments. So I think I'll come away from the PowerPoint now and play the first video from one of our nursery teachers who is going to explain, this is one of our reception teachers, lower kindergarten, who's going to explain one of her favourite light bulb moments.
My light bulb moment from this year is after a short carpet session about time, a child in the class who had never heard about time before went and found a clock, brought me the clock, and showed me, Miss Fletcher, it's 1 hour until lunchtime. And she was right.
And it's that, isn't it? When you've taught them a skill and then suddenly they can do it independently, and that light bulb moment, and we get it all day, every day, children running up to us with new learning that they've just figured out for the first time independently. Then this is our wonderful nursery teacher.
My light bulb moment this year was watching one of the children in my class make links in his learning and the language he was using in his play. So for example, comparing two sets of objects that he was playing with and saying that they have an equal amount, or saying there are more cars here, there are less toys over there.
And that's what we work on really hard at school, is trying to allow children space and time and the resources to make links in learning. And when children do make those links in learning, that is when those light bulb moments happen and things make sense to the children. And then the last one is from our upper kindergarten teacher.
A wow moment that sticks in my head was when we were using concrete objects to explore number. So we were using base 10 to try and pick apart the number and understand the tens and the ones. And there was one child who just couldn't get it. We looked at it in different ways, we looked at it with different apparatus, and he just still couldn't quite get there. This child's quite an independent child, so I thought I'd leave him with some examples and let him try and figure it out himself. I went away to go and work with another child, and then I had a big tap on my shoulder and a huge smile, and I think I've got it! So we went over and he could show me lots of examples. He was very like, this is so easy now, I don't understand why I didn't get it before. So it was a really big moment that stuck in my memory.
That's lovely, isn't it? And it is those moments when you get that tap on the shoulder and that child is so proud of themselves, and I think it's the pride that I love the most about those light bulb moments. So this is my daughter. She's in nursery. She's just turned 4, so I wanted to share my own light bulb moment as a mummy because I'm very proud of her. She has been trying to learn how to write her name. She really wants to write her name so she can write letters to her friends, but she's found it really hard. She finds the physical development side of writing really hard, and she actually finds the formation really hard. So we've been practicing in glitter, we've been practicing in flour, we've been practicing in sand, we've been practicing in the bath, we've been practicing in the shower all the time to do this S because she just cannot get there, bless her. And then the other day after her birthday, she wanted to write her thank you letters to her friends, and she wrote Isla all by herself, and her little face was just magic. She'd done the S all by herself, holding a pencil, and for me that was a light bulb moment that as a mummy will stick with me for a long, long time, I think. So yeah, she's very chuffed. Good job she didn't have a longer name. Isla's just about all we've mastered. So how can we ensure that children have light bulb moments? So I think we need to make sure in school and as parents that we make sure that children are captivated by learning. We make sure that children want to learn, that they're excited by learning, that they're intrigued and really inquisitive. If you've got a child who asks a million questions a day, though it's so annoying, it's also wonderful. It means that you have got an inquisitive child who wants to learn more, and that's magic. We want children to ask lots of questions. We want to be open to answer all those questions. We want children who want to find out more. And if we have children like that, as we do in our school, you're going to get so many light bulb moments because they're open to learning and they have a love of learning. And for us, that's really, really important. So for me, there's 5 aspects to really help this happen. And they are personalised learning, a balanced approach to teaching and learning, both at home and at school. Open-ended learning, I think, is crucial to allow light bulb moments to happen. The characteristics of effective learning, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about in a second, and the whole child. So I'll just talk my way through those different 5 aspects. So personalised learning is making sure that learning matters to children. If a child isn't interested in learning, if they don't care about the learning, they're not going to learn. And so it's really important, and something that we pride ourselves on in our school is the personalised learning approach to education that we do have. And it's so crucial to ensure that all children have teachers that they know where the child is, they know where that child needs to be, but most importantly, they know how to get that child there. So they know what that child is interested in, they know what resources that child needs, they know the questions to ask those children. And that for me is what's amazing about our school, and what I love about when I go into lessons and I observe our teachers. They really do know the children really, really well, and do offer them that personalised learning that allows for those light bulb moments to happen. Personalised doesn't mean that it has to be individual. This lovely photo here, that's my daughter again, bless her. They love, these are the Ladybird class, they love number swat. They absolutely love swatting the numbers, and they will play it for ages with their wonderful teacher, Miss Millington. And during this time, this little group of children found it really, really hard to recognise the number 6. They just could not do it, could not recognise the number 6. We tried it in loads of different ways, loads of different personalised ways, and they just couldn't get it. But through playing number swat, which they really loved as a group, finally they did get there. And again, their little faces, their eyes lit up, and they can now all recognise the number 6, which is amazing, but through a way that's personal to them and meaningful for them as well. We also use our STEAM and our collaboration with MIT to really help personalise the learning. So we have STEAM weeks, and sometimes the children are really hooked by this. So for example, we had a wonderful flight week, and one of the classes was really, really interested in this, and so we kept the learning going for them. We kept learning about planes, we kept learning about flight. For months, it went on for a long, long time. And for us to be able to be flexible with our curriculum, and at home you being flexible with your time, so that you can follow children's interests for as long or as short as they need, is really, really, really crucial to helping those light bulb moments happen. And another thing is the zone of proximal development. That's where it's the zone where children will learn. So if something's too easy, they lose interest. If something's too hard, they sometimes give up. So it's that zone where you know that child, you know what you need, how much you need to stretch them to get there. And it's our teachers knowing that zone of proximal development and how to allow children to shine. So a balanced approach for me is crucial to allowing children to have those light bulb moments. Allowing children to initiate their own learning is really, really key. Allowing children to follow their own interests. If a child loves getting messy, as this little chap does here, let him get messy. Another child might hate it in the mud kitchen, and that's absolutely fine. You can teach all the skills you need to teach in any way, linked to the different children and what they need. But children do also need adult input, and that's what we found in our school. We have a balanced approach. So we will input the skills in an adult-focused way, still in a practical way, still in a fun way, still in a meaningful way, but we will teach them specific skills. But then we will give them time and we will give them space to be able to then apply those skills in lots of different settings. And I think one thing that we've worked really hard on over the last 3 years since we opened is teaching teachers and teaching and learning assistants to know when to step back. And I remember this when I first started teaching in reception back in England, and I thought my job was to be busy all the time. I had to be interacting with children all the time, otherwise I wasn't doing my job properly. And how wrong I was, because I used to go into play and I used to say, boys and girls, what are you doing? What are you learning? What are you building? And they'd just all walk away because they didn't want me to be in their play at that point. That wasn't the right time to interact with those children. And so for me, over the years of being in early years education, I have learned that actually sometimes the best thing you can do as a practitioner is stand back, and as a parent, stand back, watch what they're doing, take it in, think about how you can move that learning forward, and then go in at just the right time, rather than ruining that play, as I have definitely done in past experiences. And as I say, teaching skills, then giving the children the environment, the resources, and the opportunity to try those skills out. So we're really lucky in our school. We have art specialists who come in and teach the children specific skills. So they would teach them how to glue, how to stick, how to hold paintbrushes, how to do different strokes, how to collage, really specific skills. But then we make sure all of those resources are out in the environment afterwards for them, the children then to explore and investigate those skills on their own. And this little chap here had made his own bracelet all by himself. He'd cut the paper by himself, he'd got the glue by himself, he decided on his design himself, and he was so proud. He did have that light bulb moment when he used the skills that he'd been taught in art in his own creations, and that for me is the magic of what we do in our school and why it is such a special place. Open-ended learning is really key to light bulb moments, I think. We're giving children time where they can be investigating, where they can be exploring, where they can be risk-taking, which is sometimes scary as a parent, isn't it? I know when my child wants to jump off something that's just that little bit too high. I hate it, but I know I need to let her have a go, obviously, if it's safe enough, but you do have to manage those risks. The problem-solving and critical thinking, some of those aspects and some of the best light bulb moments that I've ever seen are when children are playing maybe in the mud kitchen, or where they're playing and exploring in sand or water, or when they're building with the wooden blocks. So really open-ended resources really do allow children to work things out for themselves, to use their imaginations, to make those links, and to make anything possible, and I think that's just wonderful. Again, my daughter is ridiculously imaginative. I think that's come from me and all the things that I try to do with her. But it does mean that play never stops. So she'll come into my room in the morning, it'll be usually 5 o'clock, and I'll say, sweetie, we just need to be in bed for a little bit longer, it's 5 o'clock. And she'll go, okay, mummy, but we can play. Like, but we haven't got any toys. She's like, no, mummy, but we've got our hands. And so our hands have been spiders. They've been superheroes. They've been mermaids. And we can play. She can play just with her hands. And her imagination is incredible. And I think that is because I have used with her lots of open-ended resources where anything can be everything. And I think that's really magical. So the prime areas of learning are those areas that are the foundations to everything that children need. So they're the personal, social and emotional development of children, the communication and language development of children, and the physical development of children. And if we can get those aspects right, if we can get those foundations in place for children during early childhood, then they will be able to shine. They will be able to pick up the literacy because they will have resilience, they will have self-assurance, and they'll have self-worth, and they'll be able to achieve with lots of the other areas as well, like maths, understanding the world, and the expressive arts too. I think as well, children forming positive relationships is key. If children feel safe and happy and secure, they will learn and they will be able to have those light bulb moments. If they feel valued and empowered, if we believe in children so much, if we believe in their ability so much, they will feel empowered and they will learn and they will have those light bulb moments. And I've put here an example. A writing journey needs the prime areas. If you would like a child to write, first of all, they need to feel secure in themselves. First of all, they need to speak. First of all, they need to be able to hold a pencil, so they need the fine motor skills. First the gross motor skills, but then the fine motor skills. And so a writing journey really does start with those prime areas of learning. And then the characteristics, this is one of my favourite parts of the curriculum, and that's the children's learning to learn skills. So having active learning, being able to play and explore, make links in learning, being able to persevere and collaborate in learning. And it's all those things that will allow children, if they've got those learning to learn skills, they will be able to have those light bulb moments much more frequently. Isn't that gorgeous? That's a light bulb moment. So if you have all these things, I do believe that you will be able to develop the whole child. And that's what we are all about at North Anglia. We are all about the development of that whole child, that unique child, and making sure that their learning journey is so personalised and it develops them as a whole person. So making sure we have that personalised learning, make sure we have that balance between the child leading their learning and the adults developing their skills, having the open-ended learning where anything can be everything, and the development of those foundational skills and those learning to learn skills will allow us to develop that whole child and will allow those light bulb moments to happen. And this little chap here had been trying to do this lantern for days. He'd been in school and he couldn't hold his scissors properly, and he didn't have the strength in his hands to be able to cut with the scissors. And after a few days, as we've been talking to him about it, developing his skills, working with him, he made his lantern and he was over the moon. He was so happy, and he ran to his mum at the end of the day, and he was so proud of himself. So home light bulbs, you will be seeing them all the time as parents when they ride a bike for the first time. We currently have a balance bike, which I thought was a great idea. Turns out it's a nightmare. She really can't get it, but we're going to persevere and keep going with that. Making their own breakfast. That's a huge light bulb moment when a child can work out how to pour the cereal, pour the milk, get their bowl, get their spoon. And the sense of achievement and accomplishment that they get from those sorts of things at home are so important. It's really important to celebrate them as well with children. Potty training, that's a huge light bulb moment. The first time that they can go to the toilet on their own is huge. That's a light bulb moment. It's really important to celebrate that with children. And a parent warning, it will be messy. Light bulb moments are not easy. They're messy and it won't be perfect straight away. But in school, we make sure that we nurture the children. We make sure, as I mentioned before, we make sure they feel safe and secure and happy, so that if it is messy and if it's not perfect straight away, the child knows that's okay, and they know it's okay to make mistakes, and that's how they learn. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, our use of tapestry, and now we've actually got seesaw for our upper kindergartens, gives us that link between home and school, and I really do think that's important. I think when your child goes to school, knowing what they're doing each day, and the teachers knowing what you're doing each day at home, is so crucial to ensuring that children can shine. And I think that's been a real strength of our school, definitely. So thank you so much for your time today. I thought I'd put these two lovely photos up where the children, again, I think this was lots of different coloured rice, and they often have noodles and spaghetti and jelly and all sorts of awful messy stuff that they love, that I'm covered in by the end of the day. But these open-ended resources and this messy play is brilliant. It is so good for language development. It's so good for having those open-ended resources to allow for those magic moments to happen. And then these guys here, this is my daughter again, that's awful, isn't it? I've chosen so many photos of her. But they're all in there, and they were all having a brilliant time talking to each other and just having time to be happy, to be safe, to be settled and secure in school. And again, like I said earlier, that's really important to ensure that children can progress and can develop. So did anyone have any questions at all about anything that I've talked about today? Yes. Oh, sorry.
What do you think, as a parent, one of the most important things you can do to help their development?
At home,
Yeah.
I think it is about making sure that you are constantly praising, constantly encouraging, constantly telling them that it's okay if they're not getting there quite yet. I think a huge thing as a parent is trying not to be too competitive. I swore that I would never be a competitive parent. But when I'm reading through reports and I can see that some children can do this, can do that, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, my child can't do that yet, I have to remind myself that they're all on their individual journey. They are all just where they're meant to be. And I think as parents, I would say that's my biggest piece of advice. Just let your child be your child. Let them develop at their own rate. Support them. Make sure they're really happy. Make sure they're really secure. And I think just with encouragement and time, they will all get there. And I think it's just about having fun. Children will learn if they're having fun. And I think that's a huge thing that can be used at home, definitely. Well, if you think of any questions as you're wandering around, you're more than welcome to email me anytime. I love talking about this sort of thing, so please do email me anytime. We're also, we have a website, the Facebook, Instagram, all of those social media. So please do look us up. You'll see great examples of light bulb moments on there. And I will just leave you with a lovely quote that sort of links to what I've just said, actually. Childhood is not a race to see how quickly a child can read or write or count. It is a small window of time to learn and develop at the pace that is right for each individual child, and earlier is not better. And I think that really sticks with me as a parent, making sure that my child's light bulb moments can be at her own time, in her own way, following her own interests. And that's what we do in school. We make sure that every single child can develop at their own individual pace. And for me, that's the magic of working in early years. So thank you so much for your time again. And yeah, if you need anything else, do let me know. Thank you.